Hey We Read Bookers! Today I'm going to talk about A Short History of Nearly Everything by Bill Bryson. Bill Bryson is a really interesting author. He writes all sorts of travel essay books and a bunch of different stuff, but this is probably his most interesting book I've ever read. It basically goes through the entire history of everything. But what's really great about it is that it's super accessible to the everyday person. He makes super intensely complicated subjects really simple. I gave this book probably a 3 out of 5 just because there was a few parts, a few chapters that I was just bored out of my mind. Anything micro, I love all the macro stuff of like how the universe was created and all earthquakes and volcanoes and life, but anything micro, just like, oh, here's what an atom is and every little DNA chromosome. It's like, it's super important to the big picture, but I just hate stuff like that. I can never get into it. So that part just dragged on and on and on. But the book's about 500 pages and it really does cover just about everything very briefly. It starts with how the universe was created, and I pulled some really great quotes from that just for myself because I loved it. Life in the Cosmos is the first chapter, and he says some fascinating things. He kind of like goes through the size of the Earth, and he talks about how small we are compared to like the Earth itself and then even the universe itself. So we start with the big picture of the universe and then we kind of go down to our Earth, and from then on out we're talking about just the Earth. Unfortunately for people like me, we start talking about atoms and all of that stuff I hate. And then my most interesting chapter I thought was when he talks about the dangerous planet. He talks about like earthquakes and asteroids and like everything that could possibly kill us, and how like humans have not been around very long compared to all the other stuff that's ruled the Earth, all the other creatures and microorganisms, and that we're just pretty pathetic basically, and we're probably gonna die off soon. We're not gonna last as long as the dinosaurs or any other species that has ever ruled the planet. It's kind of depressing but also very interesting, and it kind of makes you take a step back and be like, okay, I'm not that interesting. I get it. I really loved the Dangerous Planet chapter, and I loved talking about like the Earth's core and Yellowstone and all that sort of stuff, volcanoes, earthquakes, stuff that, you know, goes boom. And then we kind of got into this chapter called Life Itself, this part of the book, and it got kind of slow from there, unfortunately, but also still interesting. I mean, there's just so much like stuff I didn't know, or that was touched on very briefly in school, but you know, no one cared enough to listen, or it wasn't interesting enough. Bill Bryson makes it interesting, and that's why I really like this book. I highly recommend it to anyone who feels like their public education in America did not do them any good. Which is probably all of you. Yeah, it sucks. Our system is disgusting and terrible, but this book is really helpful if you want to self-teach yourself a little bit about everything, just about everything. So I highly recommend it. It's been out since 2003, so there's a lot of stuff that's like a little dated in here, but for the most part it's still very relevant and it's really good. So I recommend it if you are into nonfiction. I'm trying to read more nonfiction, so blah blah blah. That's it for me, and I hope to see some more book reviews soon, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.